stepdad's been gone for 2 years, and I'm still getting hate comments. A lot of articles are coming out, and I just don't like. It's just complicated, and for no reason, because this is like not just a social media gig. Like, this literally is my life. Like, I have siblings. Like, this is their dad. This is who they're gonna grow up. See all this on social media. That's so hurtful. I have a biological dad. I have a relationship with him, but Steven was the person. And when I address him as Steven, I know that like y'all know him as Twitch, but like that was my dad. Like, I'm not gonna address him by his stage name. He literally recently I've been getting a lot of comments. I changed my Instagram username, and I had access to my social media. He was a pretty strict parent, but like a couple months before like I started getting access to it, but I was never adopted. I never had the last name Boss, and I know my siblings do, but I don't. And my last name, my legal last name, isn't even what I like is my handle. It's just my middle name, because I don't go by Boss or my last name. But that was just like, we were addressed as the Boss family. Like, that's basically what it was. I don't know. I'm trying to like get all my together about what's like appropriate to say and like what's not going to get me in trouble, because, you know, like I'm just trying to address things, but like I'm still trying to be respectful to everybody. These are all people that I've grown up with, and to see them different for social media.
Hey y'all, it's me, the Nosy Goddess, and we are getting into the business of Twitch, or Stephen Twitch Boss, his stepdaughter Wesley, and his widow Allison Holker. If you've been under a rock and you don't know what's been going on these past few days, Stephen Twitch Boss was a loved personality on television. He was a professional dancer who we knew from being the runner-up of season 4 of So You Think You Can Dance. He then became a personality on Ellen as a dancer and kind of a sidekick, I guess you could say. And then we also knew Allison through Twitch, because she also was a dancer on So You Think You Can Dance. I don't think we would have known her had it not been for Twitch, to be very honest. However, we did know her because of Twitch. Now, Twitch was said to have unalived himself in December of 2022 under very strange, mysterious, and nefarious circumstances. I'm not going to get into that, but if you have been following any of this, you already know these things. I just want to recap a little bit, because there might be one or two people who have no idea. With that said, Allison book, and she's promoting this book. It's due out sometime in February. And in promoting this book, she has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, not only the public, but also Stephen Twitch Boss's family. Now, she's been promoting this book heavily through People magazine. They've been putting out interview clips as well as an article or two about what's inside the book. And she has revealed some things that people are angry about, the fact that she's revealing. As you can see from the title of the article, he was hiding so much: addiction, depression, childhood abuse. And these are things she said to have found in his journal after his passing. And she's, for the first time, revealing these things through this book. His family has come out and spoken against Allison doing this. They have said that she had them sign NDAs at his funeral, including his mother. And there's been other things said by his cousin, his brother, now his mother also. She did express her disappointment and wanting her son to have a legacy left without all of this muck around it. And I think it's very unfair to him and his family for her to be doing this. However, she is doing it. Now, because of this, she's getting a lot of public backlash. Under her Instagram posts are treacherous. And so her daughter, Wesley, this is Wesley when she was younger. Okay, she's now 16 years old. Stephen was her stepfather. Stephen married Allison in 2013. Now, as you can see in these later pictures, she wears her hair full and curly. And if you didn't know any better, you would think she was mixed. But she's actually not. She's actually white. Just saying. And I'm only saying that so that you're not confused as I was when you watch the video clip of her defending her mother. So let's get into that. And let me know what you think about her response as a 16-year-old on this topic and some of the things said in the video as well.
These are all people that I've grown up with. And to see them now act different for social media, it's like, I don't know. And I'm trying to be respectful, but I just think it's complicated because I speak to Steven's moms. Like my mom and her were speaking weekly at some point. And I don't know if it's still like that. Like me and my mom haven't talked about it. But since Steven died, I feel like I've seen his family more than when he was alive. We would only see them once or twice a year, but you guys have to understand that it's because they live in another state. Like, and things happen. Like we literally live in another state, and it's not like we're neighbors. It's not like we could just see them whenever we wanted. And now, like, my mom's constantly making the effort so that the kids are a part of, or not the kids are a part of their, wait, I was about to mess up my words. So the kids are a part of their lives. And my mom's, these are all people that I've had effort. I don't make the effort, but that's just how I am. I feel disrespected by them, so I'm not going to talk to them. There were points where like the brothers would reach out to me, like my uncles and Connie, they'd be texting me, but I don't talk to them anymore. I feel completely disrespected. They've gone on social media saying that blood's thicker than whatever, and that's a direct dig at me and my mom. And if you don't see me as Steven's daughter, that's cool. That's like, take it how you want. That I know for a fact that's never how he saw it, and it's literally just hurtful. Effort. I don't make the effort. Y'all love to argue about the NDAs. Basically, not backstory, because like that's what the whole story is. But in one day, we had an open casket like viewing for Steven. We had a funeral, and then we had a wake. And my mom asked for NDAs to be signed when we were seeing Steven's body, because God forbid somebody that went to that took a photo of Steven and put it on the internet, or, you know, shared it with somebody else. That's the type of things that NDAs are for. It's not so you can never talk about Steven. You can't ever talk about, you know, you grieving him. You can't post about it. That's not what it is. And for all the people saying it, I just feel like you're uneducated. I'm sorry, but like truly, I'm fed up because NDAs are so important. And if you guys don't agree, that's cool. I'm grateful for my mom making sure that everybody signed NDAs. Y'all love to argue. That whole day was supposed to be beautiful, and instead it was less than that. Like, we were gonna say our goodbyes, and instead people were yelling at each other and bashing my mom, and like that's a day that's taken away from her, and she can't remember it as being the day that we all wanted it to be because his family was making it otherwise. And like, when I say that this day, like, it's imprinted onto my brain. Like, one, because I had to say goodbye to the person that I loved and valued. But then on top of that, I'm having to deal with seeing my mom go through so much. Like, it's a different type of hurt because these are people that we're supposed to love and value. And yet they're constantly doing things that make me see them as like less. Like, they're the ones impacting that image. But they're also the ones taking onto social media. So I just don't get it, because that whole day, I don't know where it started, but I'm constantly getting comments being like, your mom didn't let Connie see the body for 3 weeks and something like that. But it's like, everybody who wanted to see the body had access to that information. My mom didn't want to. My mom, she stayed out of that. My mom didn't want anything to do because that's a traumatizing thing. And so somebody else had that information to go and see Steven's body from after he died until he was like, you know, like they fixed up how he looked and stuff. But until that point, I remember like conversations being had of like Connie asking about it, but then everybody, literally everybody being like, advising against it because that's your son. You might not want to go see him. But with that all being said, she could have completely on her own terms gone and seen him. My mom wasn't withholding information. I don't know where it started. My mom never said that Stephen was an addict. Let me say that. Never said that he was an addict. But if y'all want to take a headline for a news article and turn that into being the thing that you're paying attention to most, that's literally on you, right? But in our house, how he ran things, like, I'm his kid. He was trying to teach me and educate, obviously be that fatherly role, right? So he'd be open and vulnerable about him smoking weed. Also, my mom's not calling him a terrible person for smoking weed. Guys, let's get it together. But when you have 2 years after somebody committed suicide to sit here and question every interaction you had, every single thing they did, obviously my mom's like, maybe I should have paid more attention to.
So honestly, this is crazy for me to see this teenager come on social media to talk about this subject matter with all these adult family members involved on both sides, her mother, as well as her father's side of the family. Just like she's defending her mom, his mother has the right to defend him, being that he's not here to do it for himself. If he wanted people to know what was in his journal, he would have shared it. And to say that the article's headline shouldn't be the focus, she has been doing stories with People for a long time. So it's very clear the mother has a relationship with People magazine. I'm pretty sure they would not have published it the way they permission. So she's trying to drive book sales. Let's just be clear about that. Her mother did come out with a statement following the backlash to try to defend herself, because not only was the public coming at her as well as his family, but her own longtime friends made posts and stories. And if you don't know all of these things, you can go back to my previous video and get all those details. So here is Allison's statement, just to be fair. To fans of Stephen and our family and friends, I want to be clear that my only intention in writing the book is to share my own story as well as part of my life with Stephen to help other people. Just like you, I never really knew what happened. And even as I am trying to put the pieces together, I will never really know. If you decide to read the book, hopefully you'll see my intention is to celebrate the love and life I shared with Stephen and our 3 beautiful children, and also the more complex issues of both of our lives. I hope that by sharing our full story, I can help someone else who might see themselves or a loved one in Stephen. In sharing, I hope that maybe they can catch some of the red flags that I missed before it's too late. Over the course of the last 2 years, I've spoken in detail with NAMI as well as the Solomon family and the Defensive Line Foundation to better educate myself on mental health issues so that I can share warning signs with others. All of my proceeds from this book are going to fund the mental health focused foundation I started in Stephen's honor, Move with Kindness. My hope is that we don't need to lose another husband, brother, father, or friend to suicide. I believe that if Stephen were able to choose, he would choose to have his story told if it meant saving even one life. Much love to all who have supported our family these many years. All right, so I'll just read one of the comments here. That was not her place to put his personal journal in the public eye. He deserves privacy, even in his passing, and not for all his business to be in the street or alleged personal situations to be put in the streets of the public and the world. And I have to agree with that. Now, his mother, Connie, made a statement. Absolutely appalled by the misleading and hurtful claims made about my Stephen Boss. The recent publications spreading untruths about Stephen have crossed every line of decency. As his mother, I will not let these accusations go unanswered. We will not stand by while his name and legacy are tarnished. He doesn't deserve this, and the kids don't deserve this. For the last 2 years, I have remained quiet and away from the public eye to protect my family. My primary focus has been on healing and attempting to remain connected to my grandchildren. But when I read these dreadful claims about my baby, our beloved Stephen, I realize I could not stay silent any longer. Our family will ensure his name and memory are protected, and we are committed to defending his honor. Connie Boss Alexander. Stand for Stephen, Boss Family United. I love this. Now she's speaking on behalf of the family, and I'm going to read a couple of these comments. Somebody said, it's her husband, it's her truth, like it or not. How is what she said worse than what he did to himself? Critical thinking skills are a lost art. Now, first of all, we don't even know if what was said to have happened actually happened. So I think this is an unfair statement. And it might be her husband, but this is this woman's son. So I think it's unfair to make it as if she doesn't have a voice in this. She gave birth to this man. Had it not been for her, she would not have had a marriage to him. Someone else said she stayed silent because she didn't want to offend Allison. But per usual, when you let them slide, they ice skate. Them kids would have to come find me once they're grown. It's not worth it. Wow. Somebody said that sucks because his wife is now going to cause problems with his mother and her grandchildren. Your husband dies and your first thought is to get people to sign NDAs and write a book. That's weird. So I'll read this last one because it looks like it has some meat to it. I hope she shared in the book that he took care of your first daughter that was not his. That right there tells you what type of man he was. You should be grateful. But the minute he depart from this earth, you try to tarnish his name. You already moved on quickly. Let his family grieve. They should expose you. I think it's more to the story why he killed himself, SMH. Remember, he came home first. You never even reported him missing. Real weird. Yeah. There's definitely a lot to the actual story around his suicide. And like I said, I'm not going to get into that right now. I think I did address it. I have in my archives, I have addressed this previously when this story first kind of broke about the mother being kept away from her grandchildren because it was a story. The brother had come out publicly to say that they're being have been estranged from the kids because of Allison. So now what the stepdaughter said, Wesley is her name. She says she feels disrespected by his family. The way she speaks of him, she sounds very detached. Not to say she shouldn't call him by his first name. I know a lot of people with stepdads or stepmothers call those parents by their first names. Now, it's interesting that when you look her up, her background, and this is Wesley, the daughter, her actual father is never revealed. So I don't know if he was a part of her life or not, but I do know that she's fully white. And I only say that because it seems like maybe she tried to have a biracial look because she wanted to fit in with the family. And being that, Stephen was a black man, she could kind of get away with that. She wanted to look more like maybe her step siblings who were mixed. And I only say that to say there's something strange about this whole thing. Something very strange. But like I said, it's all for the book, Connie, in my opinion. And she, in my opinion, also is getting the backlash she deserves for the way she's going about this. If this is what she wanted to do, then she could have gone about it in a different way, a more respectful way, and more of a way to honor his legacy. If you're going to use him as a part of your book promotion, as you see, he's not on the cover of the book at all. And I don't believe his name is mentioned in the title anywhere. But when she's promoting the book, it's all about him. And supposedly these things that she found out about him and things he was hiding. Now, before she came out with that statement, she did attempt to put in her Instagram story some things that people were saying in support of her. She posted a handful of things like this. Someone saying, Allison, they tagged her, is such a brave woman. These last couple of years have been painful for anyone who was a fan of Stephen, Twitch boss. I was heartbroken when I heard what happened. She is an example of how perseverance can pay off. Now, in my opinion, these things were PR. People working for the book company, people working for People Magazine, It's very easy to have people post things in order to help her promote her book. The more money she makes, the better they are off as well. So I'm not really putting too much on these, positive posts that she tried to put against the many, many, many other messages that came under her own posts and under the blog posts that were against her and in her decision to go about writing her book and putting things in her book in this way. Now, I am definitely not here to come for a kid. Okay. I'm not here to come for a child. This girl is 16. And when he passed, she was about 14 years old. I'm confused as to why her mother allowed her to address this publicly. I feel like her mother kind of put her up to it. And I feel like her mother probably high-fived her and hugged her, good job, after she made this post, because she needed support. She needed somebody to come publicly and support her, which I don't think anyone has done aside from her daughter. And, her daughter's a child, 16 years old. And I don't think this was a good look at all. Now, I think her daughter might have gotten a nose job. I mean, not to say anything's wrong with that, but again, she's 16 years old. And she, somebody called it cosplaying as a mixed girl. But, clearly, as you saw in the video, she was bouncing her hair around, making it more full. And she's clearly, into her look. So there's nothing wrong with that either. I know as a teenager, that's pretty much all you think about for the most part. I mean, she's a pretty girl, wishing everyone in this nothing but the best. But can we let this man rest in peace, please? I mean, it seems to me he might be speaking from the dead. He might want somebody to say something on his behalf, maybe why all this ruckus is going on. But, wishing that he is able to finally rest. And, hopefully her book does well enough for her to leave well enough alone and not write any more books. But I know I'm not buying the book. I don't suggest you buy the book. I'm just saying. And that's all I got on this for now. Till next time. Bye.